Movies are my entire life. I need to watch movies like I need to breathe air. You guys finding everything okay today?
Do you work here?
No. I just wanted to give you a hard copy of my resume. I'm very good at beginning with the end in mind, which for me is going to NYU Tisch School for the Arts.
I just don't understand why you won't apply to Canadian universities.
Because I don't want to be like a Canadian filmmaker.
Welcome back, everyone. That was a clip from the feature film I Like Movies, which follows a self-obsessed 17-year-old cinephile pursuing his dreams and testing relationships in suburban Ontario.
It was featured on TIFF's list of Canada's top 10 feature films and is sure to become the next Canadian cult classic. We are so excited to have with us the award-winning writer and director of the film, Chandler Levack. Welcome to the social. Oh my God.
Thank you for having me.
Well, first of all, congratulations on this film, which I had the pleasure of seeing Wednesday night in Hamilton with you in attendance, the cast, a lot of the cast in attendance, and your crew. It was an absolutely magical night. But for those of us who haven't seen it, what's it about?
It's about a very pretentious teenage boy who considers himself a great cinephile, who gets a job at what's essentially a Blockbuster Video in Burlington, Ontario in the year 2003. And he develops this kind of complicated relationship with his older female manager at the store.
Yeah, it is a really charming coming-of-age story. It filled me with so much nostalgia. It reminded me a little bit of Juno and Lady Bird. Talk about the inspiration behind it.
Yeah, well, people are calling it Lady Bird for losers, which I really appreciate. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of, it was basically Telefilm has this amazing micro-budget film grant that you can get to make your first feature in Canada, but the catch is it's for $125,000. And I was in my early 30s, and I kind of felt like the way that I think women feel when they're ready to have a baby.
Yeah.
Except I was like ready to give birth to like a coming-of-age teen movie.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, think of an idea that you could execute for $125,000. Like, give yourself permission already to make your film. Like, write a story that you feel like really is authentic to your own voice. And it got me thinking about my last year of high school when I worked at Blockbuster, and I was obsessed with cinema, kind of an insufferable teenager. And I thought it could just be like a really interesting story to tell.
Yeah, they say write about what you know, right? So, but the thing is the main character in this movie is Lawrence, as we saw, and he's a boy. So why did you decide to write him?
Yes.
As a character?
Yeah, what weird part of my brain?
Oh, it's interesting.
I
liked it. Yeah.
Well, I feel like there's a gap in representation. I think a lot of time female filmmakers are told that we can only tell stories about women, which is amazing because, of course, there's a great disparity of those stories, and it's really important to have multifaceted female characters on screen. But I also think there's something interesting about women writing about men in a way that maybe men can't see themselves at.
Yes.
Tackling it from a different angle.
Yeah.
And I like the idea that this teen boy story could also, his coming of age could be, you know, necessitated by a woman kind of really calling him on his I don't know if I can swear.
No, don't.
No.
Don't do it.
Is there
Find another word.
like a
His complicated, you know, stuff that he has going on.
Great,
Yes,
that was excellent, excellent, and you're a pro. But we have to say, like, everyone in this movie, the cast is just outstanding, every single one. And Isaiah Lehtinen was actually selected as one of TIFF's rising stars following his role as Lawrence. What was the casting process like? Did you find him right away, or?
No, it was so hard. I had to, every day, hundreds of teen boys were being sent into my inbox.
No way.
God.
We did the whole thing over Zoom, casting process.
Because the film was made during pandemic,
yeah, the third wave of the pandemic before vaccines existed, which was another challenge. But I worked with a very brilliant casting director, Jesse Griffiths. And there were a lot of interesting people who auditioned for Lawrence, actually. Gabriel Labelle, who was the lead of Steven Spielberg's The Fabelmans audition.
Oh, wow.
But there was just something about Isaiah. He wasn't exactly how I pictured it, but he was so much more interesting and nuanced and fantastic. And I feel like he is really the author of the movie. He's in, like, almost every single scene. He never stops talking, and he has this incredible charisma about him. He's like a young Danny DeVito.
Oh my God, well said, well said. I'm like, we were both talking about this backstage, just going to Blockbuster's video stores, how it became sort of part of our youth. The thrill of trying to figure out what you were going to watch, staying on top of cinema and movies. Do you think that it's something that kids are missing out on today, not having that experience?
Yeah, I mean, I'm only 36, but I feel like I'm the last generation of people to remember media with physical objects.
Yeah, nicely said.
Something about the like specialness of like loving a movie and waiting for it to come out on DVD and like running to the store and buying it or renting it for the first time. That's like so powerful. Same with albums. You know, I had so much stuff in my house. Now I have nothing. And I think there's something like sacred about the video store experience that I really feel like this generation's missing out on. Like, yes, they have access to everything, but how many movies are we actually watching all the way through when we go home and watch it on Netflix? But if you rent The Italian Job from Blockbuster, you have to watch it. Otherwise, you're gonna get a late fee. And there's something sacred about that.
Yeah.
It's true, and also there is something in having almost too much choice. Everything's at our fingertips, so it's where do you begin? It's almost paralyzing. Whereas with the video store, it's like you got to
handle things. The film is screening at TIFF, so congratulations. That's so wonderful.
Thank you.
And you have actually thanked TIFF for being responsible for some of the most profound moments of your life and career, including being paid professionally to stare at a one Jake Gyllenhaal from across the room. What is the story behind that?
Yeah, it sounds weird. Well, Jess and I were actually on the same kind of party circuit back then a couple years ago when I think Demolition came out, the Jean-Marc Vallée movie. And it was this weird job that I was doing for Toronto Life where I would get to go to fancy celebrity parties, but I wasn't allowed to talk to anybody. I just had to kind of report on the details. So I remember going to the party for Jake Gyllenhaal's Demolition. I was so nervous. I didn't know anybody there except Jake Gyllenhaal, but I couldn't talk to him. So I would just kind of like report, like Jake Gyllenhaal picked up a muffin. Jake Gyllenhaal is hugging Naomi Watts. Jake Gyllenhaal is drinking a glass of water. Jake Gyllenhaal is leaving. And I remember thinking, I wonder what he smells like. I bet it's like a Japanese pine forest after it rains, or like
Love this image.
Taylor Swift's like kisses, you know.
Perfect. Okay, just quickly now, because the Oscars we know are on Sunday, we'd love your expert opinion on one film or actor that you think definitely should win.
Oh, I mean, I'm all in on women talking. I think it's Sarah Polley's time. She's such an inspiration to me as a female filmmaker. She's been such an advocate of my film. I don't know how she has the time to do it, but she's tweeted about it. She just posted an Instagram story about it.
Did she?
Yeah.
It's magical.
And I just feel like she just is such an amazing artist, and that movie is so important and spectacularly directed. I know she's up for Best Picture. I know she's up for Best Adapted Screenplay. And I think when Sarah Polley wins her first Oscar, we should take to the streets. Like, Toronto should take to the streets. And celebrate her the way that the Raptors, we did with the Raptors won the World Championship.
Let's do it. Chandler, thank you so much for chatting with us today.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Everyone watching I Like Movies opens tonight in select theaters across Canada. Be sure to check it out, and we're going to be right back.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for watching. We've got lots more discussion and debates on everything from food and fashion to pop culture and current events. Don't forget to click like and subscribe.